Have you struggled with like getting out of your head and into your heart, letting out all of you, your true self, whatever that true self is? And most likely, that true self was the self that you were when you were little, before you got programmed to squish your emotions, to squish what you really want to do, to squish your expression. You know how kids are loud and always get told to be quieter, and parents weren't meaning to squish you, but it happened. So, are you a overthinking, high achieving woman that is curious about the spiritual path, or maybe you've been on the spiritual path and you're looking to how do I step into being me more than how I was programmed, being me more than what I think I should do, I have to do, or what the responsible thing is to do. Because my spirit guides came in, told me they want me to start doing this a totally different way. We are still going to invite in the spirit guides because, of course, I call myself the creative mystic. Just so you know, if you haven't been here before, hi, I'm Deepa, and I call myself the creative mystic, and welcome to my Sacred Art Studio. And today we're going to talk about your creative power and actually how it starts to help you get out of your head and into your heart more. And when you're in your heart more, you can start to discover who you really are, who you're meant to be on this planet. So if there's some part of you that feels like something's missing, like something is just not quite right, even if maybe you are successful and you have a career where you make a lot of money, or you're in a high position, but you feel like something's still missing. I was there many years ago where I was making a lot of money, had achieved a lot of my outer trappings, and still felt like something was missing. So if that's you, or if you're just looking to learn more about the spiritual journey of awakening, please continue to watch. And we're going to share with you Our Lady of Guadalupe, who's here, wanting to give some higher guidance. And I'm going to share some of my own experience. And one of the things we're going to do differently, the thing that I really saw, I got this in meditation, was to get this little spinning wheel and then spin it. And then we're going to do the creative process, the creative practice that it shows up. But that spinning wheel didn't show up in time. So I got the guidance to put them on these little cards, and we're going to throw them up in the air and see what lands and what's the one that we're supposed to do. But let's start first with inviting in the spirit guides and welcoming you to my Sacred Art Studio and to your sacred space. Because this Sacred Art Studio here, it's all about a place where we connect with spirit through the spirit guides, that we use our creative powers with spirit to grow spiritually and have an experience of the divine. And most importantly, how do you get out of your head and into your heart so that you can listen to your intuition, follow that intuition, awaken your spiritual gifts that may be dormant because you're too much in your head. Because it is about when you get into your heart that you start to reveal the spiritual gifts that are just waiting there in the background, nudging at you that they want to come out. And so part of that is about the creative power. All right? So we're going to ring in this bell to welcome in the spirit guides, welcome in the sacred space, not only here in my physical space and in your physical space, but most importantly within you. Because when you begin to awaken the spiritual space within yourself, that's one of the things that helps you get out of your head and into your heart. You start to awaken the awareness to notice when you get pulled and inkling a certain way, to notice when you something doesn't feel right to you and you actually follow it rather than what you're hearing in the outside world or what your programming is telling you. It's how do you create that sacred space so you can listen to your divine self, because you are a spiritual being, powerful beyond measure. And how do we help you awaken to that? And so I've gotten really clear in this time with the spirit guides that have been showing up that it's really about helping you with your path of awakening, and that there's these stages. We're not going to talk about the stages today, but today we're going to talk about the creative power and how it starts to help you in your awakening process, okay? So let's just take a moment and just focus on your breath, because that first point of power that you have is your breath. Taking that deep belly breath in and out, because when you calm the breath, you calm your mind. And that's the beginning of getting out of your head and into your heart. So take that deep belly breath where the belly rises with the inhalation and falls with the exhalation. And on the next deep belly inhalation, just draw on the energy of focus. And on the exhalation, let go of any distractions, any business of the day, to allow your energy to come fully into this present moment so you can be open and receptive to the guidance of the spirit guides. Be open to the receptivity of transformation, of a willingness to see something different, to do something different, to know something different. And that's what your spirit guides are here to help you with. They come in these miraculous forms to give you the higher guidance that maybe you can't get because you're caught too much in your head, your subconscious programming that keeps you doing the same thing over and over. So let's ring this bell, saying hello to the spirit guides. Hello, spirit guides. Hello, Our Lady of Guadalupe, because she's the one that says she's going to come in and talk about this. Hello to whatever spirit guide that is in your presence, in your energy body, here in my space and your space, because we are all one, ever connected, ever communing, ever one. And say thank you, thank you, thank you. Even if you don't notice anything, it's about thanking the presence, whether you know it's here or not. By the mere words of thank you, you've already received it. Oh, thank you. So one of the things they want me to share with you is about habits. Okay, we all have habits, right? Habits of our routine, habits of our thinking, habits of, what we speak, how we speak. And they want me to share some guidance I got many years ago when I was in my 20s on this spiritual journey. And at that time, I was just practicing Buddhism. I hadn't quite gotten into yoga and become a yoga teacher and a meditation teacher and start, I was doing my Buddhist chant, studying Buddhist philosophy. It fit for me when I first got on the spiritual journey because I grew up in a really non-spiritual family, and it helped me to get over the question of, is there a God? I've gotten over that now over the time. But one of the things when this Buddhist leader said to me, and it was life-changing for me, absolutely life-changing, was to not live life as a habit. Okay, now you might be thinking, what has this got to do with creative powers? But they're hooking it up for me today. Our Lady of Guadalupe came in and she told me that, talk about do not live life as a habit. Because living life as a habit is living life from your programming. And living life as a habit, and habit is you do the exact same routine every single day. You maybe eat the very similar foods every single week or something and you don't even realize that you're doing it. You're just kind of in the habit of just doing the same old thing. And if you looked back at your month, you go, can't say I did too many things differently. And that habit keeps you from growing and expanding in every way possible. It keeps you from growing and expanding spiritually. It keeps you from growing and expanding financially, intellectually, physically, right? If you just keep doing the same old thing. In fact, athletes and stuff, they have to change some things up. They may have a routine, but you have to change some things up. So especially if you want to grow spiritually. And she's saying if you want to stop overthinking, stop feeling stuck, stop feeling like you don't know what the next step is, she says you have to stop living life as a habit. So what happened for me was when I heard that, I was like, this is so true. Like when I came home, I'm like, okay, I'm going to start chanting to not live life as a habit. And I'd start chanting for that, and a month later, my whole life changed. A relationship I was in that I thought was stagnating, we split up. Now, of course, it was emotionally hard. But after we split up, I saw how that relationship was holding me back. Now, that person was perfectly fine, did nothing wrong, but at that time in my 20s, my codependency was keeping me stuck in not going for the things I really desired. And when we split, I then started like riding my bike 100 miles. I did a backwards bicycle tour. That I went to Bali. Did a mountain biking trip up in Idaho, where we went and rode our bikes to all these different hot springs, and I just did all these things that I'd wanted to do, and I didn't do, not because the person I was with was a bad person, but because in that dynamic, I stopped myself. So when I started to chant to not live life as a habit, I started to get in touch with my truth, my what's calling me to like really be in my life. How do I want to be? What's there to do? And when I got single is when I went even deeper on the spiritual journey, where I found meditation. I was meditating before it split, but I went deeper in the meditation, and I went deeper in the chanting, I went deeper in studying, I went deeper into the interfaith part where, I believe that all paths had these strings or threads of truth, that's what I was wanting to live, those threads of truth that are in every spiritual path, that are the true teachings of awakening that will bring you to that place. And so what my spirit guides guided me to do was they said, I'm still leading with my competence. It's something I've been working on letting go of because that's how I was programmed, and let out that part of me that is silly and loves an adventure and loves to laugh and loves to enjoy life. And like, how can I let that out more here in my live with you, in my videos, in the things I teach, in every aspect of my life? How can I bring it out more? And so it's about, I share this with you so that you can be on that journey. So one of the things they wanted me to do, and Our Lady of Guadalupe is going to share some more on the creative power in a minute, but usually I just automatically start oil painting. And before I get on, I like pick something out and I work on it. I usually ask the spirit guides which to work on. But what they wanted me to do was they showed me in my meditation this, those when you go to fairs and they have the little spinning wheel and you spin it and you win a prize on whatever the choice is. They wanted me to do that with my creative process and your creative process. And why did they want us to do that? Because they said, it is about learning how to go with the flow of spirit. Okay. Now I ordered a wheel, but it didn't come in time. So I said, okay, spirit guides, what do you want me to do? It didn't come in time. They said, write them on the cards, little cards, and you're going to throw them up in the air. And the one that lands up, or if there's only one that lands down, that's going to be the one that you work on today. So I don't have any pre-planned thing. I have a lot of things out that I love to do that we're going to work on. And so what they said in all this that's going on, they want me to share with you, there's a spiritual truth in all of it. So like the reason why they don't want me to automatically just paint, and they want me to like have that little spinning wheel, is you put out your intention, all right? And then you see what comes. And then as what comes, you see what is your reaction. What is your response? Now, obviously, you would prefer not to have a reaction, but often on the spiritual journey, the very thing that's going to help us grow most is the thing that we don't want to do, or the thing that gives us a reaction. Have you been there? I love it if you share it in the chat, whether or not you've been there, comment, chat, whatever it is. I'd love to see you share that, okay? So we're going to take these little cards I put on finger paint, watercolor, clay, draw, oil paint. I don't know if you can read. I might be saying them too fast, but these are all things that I do at different times. I love making things, absolutely love it. I make more things than these, but they wanted me to start with this. And they said, we want you to throw them up in the air, since I couldn't get my spinning wheel, and see which one lands up. And they said if they all land down, or they all land up and there's one down, that's the one you do, or vice versa, okay? And so we're going to throw these up in the air, and we're going to let them fall down, and I'm going to look to see which one fell, okay? And we have 2 that fell up. So we're going to go with the 2 that fell up, and we're going to throw those up, and that was oil paint and finger paint. And you're thinking, finger paint, how come finger paint be something that is creative? But you know how I said that I always try to follow those inklings, those feelings? Well, about 3 months ago, I got this feeling like, for some reason, I want to finger paint. And it was, I did it, and it was just this freeing feeling that brought out, like when you're a little kid, right? Most people only finger painted when they were like, what, 3, 4, maybe 5, you know? And it just brought out this feeling of just freedom. And so, so I added that to this card. So let's throw them up again and see what shows up. And, it seems like they just both keep showing up. So we're going to throw them again. And I get it is finger paint. So we're going to finger paint today. I got oil paint and finger paint. They both shown, but the finger paint was the one that was really obvious. So we're going to work on that here in a little bit. Okay? But we are going to start with sharing you a little bit more about Our Lady of Guadalupe. Please, if you want to share your name, introduce yourself. I love to see the people when you are live that do it. And even if you're not live, you're watching this in recording, I love it when you put it in the comments. I love to meet the people that are finding benefit from what I do. If you like what you see here and you think I'd like to know more about it, please subscribe. It all helps my channel. You give a thumbs up. It's one of my little things I made with clay. And turn on your notifications so that way on the next live you will be notified, because there is going to be another live. Oh, hi Lily. I'm so glad you're here again. So thank you. Yeah, so they're wanting you guys, one of the things they shared with me is that they want you guys to kind of to think of this in a way of how might it work for you. So next week, I'm hoping the wheel will be here and we'll get to spin it together and see what comes up. So I'm so glad to see you again, Lil. So we're going to work on finger painting here in a moment, but we're going to get to the message from Our Lady of Guadalupe about why exercising your creative power is so important to your awakening. And we'll see where it leads from there. I wrote down that we're going to talk about what creative exercise is most effective in speeding up your awakening process, and then give intuitive downloads. But I'm going to see what they say. I sometimes, from the time that I write what we're going to do to what comes out when we get here, sometimes they give me a little bit different guidance. Because one of the things they want you to get is this is life, right? At one moment in time, there's certain energies that are happening. And so the intuitive guidance comes because you're sensing that energy. And as you make choices, right, the energy shifts and changes. Or maybe the people around you make choices and that energy shifts and changes. And so then sometimes what you're supposed to do shifts and changes. And when you're too much in your head, and not enough in your heart where you can feel and sense the intuitive guidance, that's when it can get you into trouble. Because maybe you're operating off of something that now is no longer in existence because something has shifted and changed in the world, or something has shifted and changed within you or your spouse. And then that means, oh, now that doesn't mean, they're not saying that you're supposed to be reactive and change what's true for you just because your spouse changes, okay? That what's true for you is always true for you. But maybe the steps in the journey may look a little different because something's changed in your life. And so the step's going to look slightly different. And part of being in your creative power is knowing that, being able to shift and change and morph and do it in flow, like a stream or a river, right? It doesn't fight against the rocks. It just boom, boom, and it hits the rock and goes around it, and so that's what happens when you're in the flow, the creative power flow, the divine flow, is you start to be able to shift and change and be with it. And when I know for me, because one of the reasons why I think my spirit guides told me that I'm supposed to start talking to women who are overthinkers and high achievers is that was me when I was in outside sales. I was in my head, trying to make things happen. Have you been there? And over the years, I've been learning. I went from type A to not type A. I don't know what that would be. I wouldn't say that I'm exactly laid back, but I'm not the type A, driven. I really do my best to listen to those divine guidances that I get, whether it be an actual download of something that comes into my mind that's ahead, or a picture, like the spinning wheel that I'm going to be bringing into the lives from now on. That was like I could see it as I was getting the guidance that I'm spinning this wheel and it's got options on it, and they said they want me to start doing that because it's important in accessing our creative power, in trusting spirit. We want to make that intentional prayer of what we desire and then welcome in what shows up. Now, here's the trick. See, people often go, and I had this for years. It's only been, like in the last recent period that a year or something, that I've started to understand it more, where it's like, how do you have like a goal and go for it and not get fixed on, I want that goal to show up, right? And the thing is about the goal, often we want it to show up in a certain way. Have you been that way? Like, I want this end result, and I want it to happen with step 1 here, step 2 here, step 3 here. And so what happens is it's showing up, but it's not looking like step 1, 2, and 3. It's like, oh, A, B, C, or oh, we're going down the stream, and boop, we hit a little rock, but oh, that's okay, we just flow around it. Okay, so that's why they wanted me to start bringing in this aspect of like the spinning wheel, and we threw it up and said we're going to finger paint today rather than oil paint. So she's saying that your creative power is one of your most important things in your awakening, because when you're in that creative power, now you might be thinking, what exactly is creative power? Okay, now creative power is when you're connected to higher power. All right, that's the source of all creation. In fact, everything is already created because everything is one, right? And everything is in spirit. So anything you desire is already here. But how do you manifest it on the physical plane? Because it's, there's spiritual truth, and then there's physical truths, like laws of like physics and stuff, which is about the physicality, right? Obviously, when you're fully awake, you have all the spiritual laws at your fingertips and can easily use them. And as we're on this process and path of a spiritual awakening, we have to, they're saying we have to account for, is what Our Lady of Guadalupe is saying, each of them. So if you're not fully spiritually awake, like in the Bible, they talk about Jesus walking on water. Like, how could that be? If you go with the laws of physics, that's not possible. Okay? So, but when you're fully awake, that person can walk on water, right? They can overcome the laws of physics, the laws of what it is to live on the physical plane. but you have to know where you are, okay? You don't want to affirm that you're not that awakened, enlightened soul, but you also have to know that, like, that you haven't become fully awake, because everybody has an awakened soul within them, but you have to have all of your focus, all of your energy, all of your attention on that part of you. And we've all been programmed to have our energy be pulled out to the physical plane, to the physical world, to what's happening. And so that's why creativity is so important in your awakening path, because it gets you in that connected place if done properly, if done without judging yourself, if done without trying to be good, but just for the mere sake of allowing that flow to come through. So we're going to talk about that some more. So they're saying the more you're in your head, I'm going to grab my little thing for finger painting. I had set all these different things up. Now this is not finger painting paper, so it is probably going to fold and everything else, but we're going to do this. I'm actually just going to sit this way and do it. I'm going to put some gloves on, because when the one time I did do finger painting, it is a dirty process. Anybody done any recent finger painting? It's something that, I lost one of my little cards. Clay went running away. I don't know where it fell. But anyway. So what I did, just for today, I stuck a piece of paper on my drawing board. Hopefully it doesn't ruin it. We're going to find out. So, and that's one of the things about when you have an adventure, when you're trying something new. You got to be like curious and playful and have this willingness to, like, let's just see what happens. Because if you get like, oh, it's got to be this way and I want this to happen, and you're going to create misery for yourself. And Our Lady of Guadalupe wants you to get that the creative power is not a fixed straight line. In fact, she's telling me to let you know that the creative power, the path of awakening, is far from a straight line. In fact, it's definitely not a straight line, because you're in a human body. And so there's a process you have to go through in that path of awakening. And there's these different stages of it. And part of the challenge can be is if you don't know what stage you're in. Okay? So I use these little paints. I gotta get my little gloves out so I don't have. So I also invite you, if you're watching this, to get out your own little creative project, if you want, because the spirit guides are here with us. And Our Lady of Guadalupe is coming in, and she wants to share with you one of the methods that she wants you to work with to connect with your creative power. And she's saying, what I want you to share with them first is creative power, how you awaken it, how you get it, like, well, the word going is coming through, so I'm going to use the word going, is using your initiative to make a choice that this is important, right? Because if you programmed anywhere like how I was programmed to think, all these creative things, they're like on the list last, because you're supposed to do all your chores first, your homework first, your, work first, everything first. And if there's time left over, you do this. And it's been clearly communicated to me that creativity is part of my path of awakening. Like it's like something I just need to do. It feeds my joy. It feeds, it puts me in a connected place. And so she's saying you have to take that initiative to say, This is actually important. In fact, it is one of the most important things. It's more important than like doing what's responsible, doing what's logical, doing what is makes you safe and secure. Because when you get into that divine creative flow, creative energy, you will come up with solutions to every problem in your life. See, trying to be in your head and figure it out, never gets you there. So I have these little tempera colors that I use as finger paints. I got red, blue, yellow, white, black, green. And I'm going to tune in here into Our Lady of Guadalupe for a moment and ask what color she wants me to put onto this. Now, when you're doing creativity to help you on your path of awakening, you always want to start with a prayer. That's why I always start my little live with a prayer of like calling in the spirit guides. So I often, and I do a prayer even before I get on camera with you. I do a prayer about, let me be that channel. Let me move my little self aside, my ego self, and let whatever spirit guide's volunteering to come and guide my words, my thoughts, my behaviors, my energy of what I am to say and do, to be of service to you, to be a blessing to you, to help you in your process of awakening. Because that, I feel, is when we are all on our journey of awakening, we are all like becoming more and more and more awake. We're going to see the change of the energy on the planet. It is going to be more loving, more joyful, more prosperous. And I truly believe when we're all on the path of awakening and taking it as one of the most important things in our lives, we're going to begin to cease seeing hatred and war in the world. And so that is part of why I do this, in the hopes of, if I bless one person to help you see life a little differently in a way that helps you see yourself differently, that you're this powerful being, to see the world differently, that we're all one, and to let go of hatred and blaming, because that will make a difference. Okay? So anyway, let me tune in. All right. It's telling me to start with red, blue, and green. And we're going to just, she wants me just to squirt it on here and see what happens. So this is what we're going to start with. You may get more, but we're going to do red, blue, and green. And the thing that she wants you to do in your exercise is do a prayer of intention, not a begging prayer, a prayer of what's the intention of your practice. So that my intention of my practice, when like I'm making spirit guides, is to create the spirit guides with a blessing in it, to help awaken you who see them, you who experience them when I do the lives or in a video, to help, you know, I'm wanting to like bring life to them, life that you can feel, like the energy, whether it's healing energy or, you know, joy energy or whatever that spirit guide is, you know, like Mother of Love. It was like, okay, let's, you know, wrap it in the energy of love, that she's wrapping her arms around us, loving you who see it, and that you can feel that energy. And that maybe it gives you some insight on how to start to love yourself more, because that's what she came with. What the message was, the most important love is self-love. When you love yourself completely, she says, you'll hate no one else. Because if you really know we're all one, when you hate another, you're hating yourself. So anyway, let's start with the red. She's telling me to squirt it on there, and we're going to do that. And then we're going to squirt the green on there. I wish I had a camera above that you could see it, but I don't quite have that, because this was an impromptu thing. And then we're going to do the whoop, blue. It's not coming out, though. Hang on. There we go. And we're going to squirt the blue on there. Ooh. So she's guiding me to do it in circles. I'm going to lift this up. It might run, so I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to see. See, she guided me to squirt it up like in these circles. And then you're going to like just take your fingers, she's saying, to just let yourself be. And then like put them on there and see like where do you want to rub your hands. And then she's telling me just to go around and around in circles. Ah. And then she's saying to just, and as, whoops, paper's like, she's guiding me to like drop some more red on here. You just bring this on. Or some green. So she's saying when you actually like put the art down, it's not always like what you're being told to do. It's like, what are you feeling? Like, especially if you're an empath or you're highly sensitive, she says that what you're feeling is one of the most important senses you need in the beginning. And if you're too much in your head, if you're an overthinking, high-achieving person, woman, you want to start to listen to your body. What's it telling you? What's it guiding you to do? Because if you're in your head too much, right, you're thinking, thinking, thinking. If you like stop thinking, thinking, thinking and come into, okay, what am I sensing in my body? What am I sensing to do? So I'm going to show you what I did so far. Of course, like I said, this is a messy element. So I'm going to pick some paper up here. Thank goodness I have some here, because I did not think ahead. And here's my little finger painting color, which was really fun to do. And it looks like a vortex to me. And I love the green and the red and the blue, and that's what I was being guided to put on there. And it almost looks like moving chakras. You know, like the red is the root, the green is the heart, the blue is kind of more like the throat chakra. They wouldn't call it blue usually, but it's a bluish color. And so I think that's why she was having me put this on here, because the heart, and I didn't even get this, she just guided me to put the colors down, but when I'm looking at it, I'm going to take these off and hold it up and tell you what I'm seeing, the message in this. And that's the thing about this, is that the beauty of all this, these gloves are super tight, so it's hard to get them off. So I feel like the message that's coming through on this little finger painting, and this is the amazing thing, is anything you create can be a message if you really pay attention. So in the middle, whoops, is the green. We're going to put this way, okay, is the green. And the green, I don't know if you can see it, is your heart chakra, And then the red is your root chakra, which is the first one, and then the blue is your throat chakra, which is, here's your throat, here's your heart, and the root is at the base of your spine. and that you need to like, the heart is supposed to be the center. That should be like what's guiding the rest. So whenever you have root needs, so root causes, root needs are things like, you know, survival, you need food, you need a house, you need clothes, right? You need all these things. And so often people make those decisions from that first. Okay, oh, that's the most important thing. I have to make sure I have money to pay my rent, to buy food. And she's saying those are really, it's true, you do in this world, right? But you want to follow your heart of how you want to earn that money. You want to follow your heart around how you make those decisions of taking care of yourself. Like, you don't want to take care of yourself in a way that actually creates more stress for you. Like if you're doing a job that you hate, that actually creates more stress for you. That's why people get sick, because they do jobs they hate and they go there for 8 hour plus more hours a day, and they're doing things they don't like. So when you start to follow your heart, access your creative power, you go, okay, because your creative power can get you into your heart. Like doing this, just the fun of like, let me put the paint down without any judgment of being good or any criticism or anything like that. It makes a difference. Oh, well, thank you so much. I'm glad you love it. It was fun. You know, it's just, and this didn't take long at all, right? So if you don't think you have like a lot of time for creativity, you know, you can do something like this. That you go, okay, what's my spirit guide telling me to do? You know, like Our Lady of Guadalupe said, all right, put, you know, the red down, put the green down, put the blue down, whatever order I did it, okay? And then just take your hand and swirl it around and feel it. And then I'm like, oh, it looks like they're chakras, because chakras are like spinning energy. And I didn't know this was going to come through. I just was like, let me listen, let me put it down. But it relieves you, it gives you a break. See, when you're overthinking, you're too much in your head, which is most of society in some level, okay? You're probably trying to do it right, trying to be good, trying to make sure you make someone happy. And when you do something like this, it doesn't matter what it looks like. You're just doing it for the mere fact that it brings you joy. For the mere like, I'm just going to sense and practice being in that creative power, that creative energy that everyone has. But I haven't been actually exercising it. Yeah, and I need to. So, hi, Decree. And I don't know if I've seen your sign in before, but thank you. Welcome, welcome. So it's about how do you do that, okay? Like, so she wants you to pick a creative exercise. She's saying finger painting would be great for you if you're watching this, because it's like mundane. It's in the sense of you're not going to go, oh, I have to like make it look good because it's going up in an art gallery. It's like, I'm just doing this for the mere fact of let me see what I'm sensing. What's my body needing, okay? So she says the creative exercise she wants you to do is if you got finger paints, do it. And it doesn't have to be anything special, but then just sit and ask, what do you want me to do? I want to do it. And then after you sit and you ask, you go, okay, now what does this mean to me? What does this feel like? You know, what is it like speaking to me if it is? And it might not be words, it might be a sensation. You know, like I'm like, oh, now for me, this was like, oh, the chakras, the green, okay, it's coming. But when you're new to this, trying to get messages from your art, your creativity, it might not come through of like, here's the message. It might just come in of like, oh, this makes me feel happy. Oh, these colors. Oh, let's just say it was all green. And then I'd be, oh, this makes me feel so happy. Maybe I need to go out to nature more and be around the green. Now, I don't know where you live. I live on the East Coast, and so in the summer it's green everywhere because it rains here year round. You know, you might live in the desert, and so green might not mean that. Okay, green might mean something else. And that's the thing about learning how to interpret the guidance is when you're the receiver, it's like, how does it make you feel? Because you're the one receiving the message. What does it bring up for you? And so you want to be able to like start to, oh, Decree, we did the consult. Did you do like a connection call with me? Obviously your name is not Decree, so I don't know what your name is. If you gave me your name, I might remember. But yeah, thanks for being on. Very cool. So you want to like understand that learning the intuitive guidance, that being able to, I tell people when they do mentoring programs with me that I'm the translator. Like I use my spirit guides to give you higher guidance when you aren't able to get that yourself, to help you step into your power and become that powerful being that you are. And part of when I work with mentoring clients, coaching clients, it's all about how do we help you step into it. Like I don't want you to become dependent and need to utilize my spirit guides for the rest of your life. We're going to help you so that you can do it for yourself. Now, how long that takes is different for each person, because some people catch on quicker than others. Some people actually do more of what the spirit guides tell them. You know, I tell everybody, if you're not ready to actually take action on some of what the spirit guides tell you to do, you don't want to do a mentoring program with me. It would be a waste of money. So it's about, you know, how, if you're not ready to take big steps, how can you take little steps? See, so you could take a little step like this and start to, you know, do something to help you get into that creative flow. So I'll decree, oh, thank you. Oh, well, I don't know what you're thanking me for, but thank you, you know. Maybe what you're thanking me for is this live, and if so, you're welcome. I love doing this. It's always fun, especially when I got people like you showing up and put a little comments in. It's even more fun for me. I like doing it no matter what, but when I get to like see people sharing something or sharing something that maybe an aha they got or something, or just that they're there, it makes it even more fun for me because I really want to be that blessing for you. So, let me check in with Our Lady of Guadalupe, see if there's more for me to share with you, because she's behind me, kind of nudging me on the shoulder. So she's telling me, she wants me to reiterate this because it's so easy for people to fall into it, is the most important creative exercise to do to get into your creative power and be connected to spirit is not so much the specific act, but the way you're doing it. So the creative exercise is to do something that speaks to you, that you love, that you can do without judging yourself. And that's why she's recommending the finger painting, because if you do it like you did when you were 4 or 5, or maybe 3, if your judgmental voice came in at 5, let's go back to 3, you can let go of that judgmental voice. So she's saying that that's why she recommended the finger painting, because it's something that you could do without judging. And that's the creative exercise that you want to be doing, is if you're bringing out your creativity and you see that judgmental voice come in. And what does that judgmental voice sound like? Any ideas? I'm curious. I'd love to see what people show. If you want to put stuff in the comments, I'd love to see what's your judgmental voice. What do you think is judgment? Because sometimes people don't realize when they're judging themselves, because it's so ingrained to think that it's a normal thing to do. At least that's the way I was raised. You know, I was raised with a lot of criticism, of criticizing. You know, my parents did it because they were trying to make me better. My father's always trying to make me better at something, you know, so I would be excellent at what I do. But yet, it made me feel like I never did anything well. And so that judgmental voice will go off and start to critique what I'm doing. So critiquing can be judging. Okay? So I'm curious. I didn't see anybody type thing. Oh, here we go. Yeah, thank you, Francis. Sometimes the critical voice sounds reasonable, which makes it hard to identify. Exactly. And that's the thing, is that when the criticizing happens, it'll sound logical. It'll sound like you're being responsible. It'll sound, you know, like it makes total logical sense, or that, oh, of course, anybody would think this. But yet it's stopping you in your tracks from doing what's true for you, from connecting with the divine through your creative process. And so Our Lady of Guadalupe wants you to do that prayer first. We're going to repeat this. Do the prayer first. Do something that you can do without judging yourself. And she's saying part of the creative process of connecting is being able to have fun. She's saying, I don't know why it made me pause so much, but she was saying like she was showing me like you're kind of like dancing around, like you're having fun with it. And so you want to pick something that's fun. She doesn't want it to be so hard, like you're learning something. Like I used to take some of these cello lessons, and it was hard. You know? So I was in the energy. My teacher was always trying to help me be good, you know. And don't get me wrong, when I like, I'm not a good cello player. I just would bring um, the strings across the, you know, the other strings, the bow across the other strings, and it'd be like, oh, you know. But like trying to play a song, that trying to do it the way my teacher was not fun, and put me so much in my head that I couldn't access my creative power because I was so much in my head. And that's one of the things about these musicians that you see do fabulous songs that they make you feel. It's because they've practiced so much they're not in their head anymore, that they just know where the notes are and they could do it, you know. And so you don't want to go through like years of having to learn something to get to that place of not judging yourself and to not like looking at letting go of trying to be good, or that the good just naturally comes out. And so thank you, Decree. Between body size, skin color, and gender, fashion always judging one's appearance. Yeah, that is so true. Women, you know, women get judged for that so much. You know, look at the clothes she's wearing. Oh, look at her hairstyle. Oh, her makeup. Oh, why doesn't she dye her hair? You know, those kind. You have to like nix. You know, I just started to realize like I used to wear makeup all the time, especially when I was in outside sales, and I still wear it some. But I realized I don't want to wear it every day. I want to get comfortable with the way I look. This is me, you know. So I don't wear it all the time now, and that's been good for me. Um, you love to dance. That's a good one. I love to dance too. Sometimes I'll just put on a song I love and I'll like dance to it by myself and be creative with that. Right? Don't do a set step. Just let your body go into what does it feel like it wants to move. That's a great one. So. Oh, you had that. But if you're once your surgeries, you're healed from it all. Maybe you can't move like you used to, Decree, but you could still like move the way you want to. You know, in the sense of like just move like the body, like letting it move without having to do any fancy steps. But I love that. I love that too. I think it's important. It's so important to be yourself. It is something that I have been, you know, because I got programmed with competency to be competent, to show that, right? Like I would get for years guidance from my guide saying, "Be you," and I'd be like, "Well, what's my guide say? Be you," and I'd be like, "Okay, I think I'm being me. What do you mean?" You know? And it took me a long time to get like, oh, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm being me with my significant other, with my wife, but I'm not being me like my silly, more expressive self, like even on YouTube. You know, I tend to lead with my intellect. Now, I am an intellectually oriented person in the sense of I love to study. I read the same spiritual book 3 or 4 times, you know, because I grasp something at a deeper level as I continue to grow spiritually. And that is part of the spiritual path that Our Lady of Guadalupe says you want to come to terms with. She's saying, not come to terms like there's something wrong, but have a willingness is what she's saying. You want to have a willingness to repeat. Repetition, right? Now you're probably going, okay, we want to repeat, but we don't want to live life as a habit. I don't get this. She's saying repetition when you're looking to understand maybe spiritual truths, okay, and you're reading about it. It is important to reread things because you are in a different place. So even though you're repeating the act of reading, it's not the same thing because you're now different in your knowingness, in your knowledge, in your consciousness, that you will have a deeper understanding of something that maybe you read 4 or 5 years ago. You will have a different aha and go, wow, I did not even realize this the last time I read it, but now I do. So repetition is important when it comes to a spiritual study, okay? But living your life is the part where you're applying what you learn from the study, and that you don't want to live as a habit. You don't want to keep doing the same thing all the time, because you're growing. And as you grow spiritually, as you grow emotionally, spiritually, physically, okay, there's a time for you to do it differently. So just like you, Decree, you talked about how before you had the operation, you did dancing, you could do a lot more moves. And as you had it, you're like in this different stage with your physical body. And so you have to go, okay, well, I did that before. Now, what's the new movement? What's the new way I'm going to dance? Now, I'm just using dance as an example. But, how am I going to approach life in a different way? Because I'm in this different stage considering what happened to me physically. So hopefully it's making sense. Yeah, cool. And I love the fact that you love being different. When I grew up, I didn't love being different. I was so different because I grew up in a completely white neighborhood. I was different just by my face, by being Asian. So not that I could ever be the same, but I always felt different and wondered why I was so different, but I knew I felt different. But I can't say I loved it. So I think it's great that you love being different. Yeah, rocking versus gyrating. I like that. Yeah. So that's part of being in the creative flow, the creative power. Because the creative power, people think, oh, power, I got to Our Lady of Guadalupe is coming through again. I got to make it happen. But no, creative power she wants you to get is creative flow. How can you receive it? Okay, you want to be in that feminine energy of receptivity. And then how do you take that receptivity of what you're receiving and go, okay, how am I to act on this today? How am I to act on this with where I am physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually? She's saying it's so important when you're in the creative flow to adapt to what your circumstances are, in the sense of how you apply what you're getting might be slightly different. So she's saying, even when you go down a river, she's showing me this, you're going down the rivers, and some people go down in a kayak, and some people go down in a raft. And the person who goes down in a raft does different things than the person who goes down in a kayak. Same river, but because they're in different vehicles, they do slightly different things to guide themselves down the river. Okay, so now I don't know what those different things are, but she's telling me that the person in the kayak would do slightly different things than the person in the raft, right? Because in a kayak they've got their oar all in one stick, right? And they're dipping back and forth this way. And in a raft, you usually have more than one person, and you each have an oar, and you kind of go like this. I've done whitewater rafting, but I've not done whitewater kayaking. But I do know I've done a kayak on streams, and you're your emotion is this way. And in the river, you're just in one spot, making, you might go backwards, but you're still like this. You're not going back and forth between each side. So she's saying that's what she's talking about, if that gives an example. Oh, wow. Decree. Yeah. Yeah, I know you went through some stuff there. I got teased, and it was scary when the big white guys would come by and tell me, make funny of my slanty eyes or my nose or anything like that. Oh, I love that. Use that into master love. Yes, it is so true. I do that now. I did not do that when I was 5. So if you were doing that when you were little, kudos to you. You were, you were much more awake than I was when I was 5, because I was just scared. I mean, I didn't fight or anything, but So, and that's the thing about the spiritual journey. It's about how do you actually accept where you are and love yourself that way, you know. And when I was little, I didn't. I because I grew up in a critical environment, I criticized myself. Now I'm like, well, I love myself the way I am. You know, this is part of my journey. And that's the thing that Our Lady of Guadalupe wants you to get, that when you connect and you're in the creative flow, even if something happens that you don't like or that you think you made a mistake, she wants you to get there really is no mistake. It's your process that you need to do for your awakening. And she says this is really important for you to get, because that's what helps you to let go of the judgment and criticism of yourself, is when you can accept and go, this is my journey, and I'm going to welcome in every bit of it, because that's welcoming in and loving myself. You know, and I had that aha several years ago, probably, it's been over 10 years now, where like, love every part of my life, because that's loving me. My life is a reflection of me, and when I don't like things about my life, I don't like me. So love it all, because it's showing up to help me grow spiritually, to help me become the awakened one. You know, like, we're all one, so we're all wanting to be awakened is what I mean by that. So hopefully that's making sense. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. You thrived. You know, I hear a lot of songs talk about surviving, and I think, I don't want to just survive. I want to thrive, right? That's the energy we want, is thriving. So I love that. Well, Decree, I don't know if you know, but I do this live weekly, 3:30 p.m. Eastern time. I don't know what time zone you're in, but if you aren't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe so that you can get the notification of the next time I do it. And anybody who found this helpful, please share it with anybody you know. It all helps my channel. Give me a thumbs up. If any of you are looking to get some support, a coach or anything to help you with what you're wanting to grow into and move into, to grow spiritually and wanting to maybe manifest your purpose, please take advantage of my next step connection call. I'll put that up in the thing. Just, you can, deepaloo.com/gift. Where is it? And I'm looking to release a membership here soon too. So if you want to go to that, so deepaloo.com/gift is where, if you're wanting to do a next step connection call with me, feel free to check into that and get that out. And if you'd like to be notified when I am going to launch my membership, you go to deepaloo.com/membership-waiting-list. So that's what's there now. So any last questions? Because I'm going to, believe it or not, it's 4:33. So, oh, Lil, thank you so much. I always love seeing you show up and sharing, Lil. It's a great. And Decree, I hope to see you again. I am subbed. Oh, okay. Well, okay, great. All right. So if there's no questions, then ladies, I hope to see, well, I think you're all ladies. I hope to hear that you maybe got some finger paints and tried this, because Our Lady of Guadalupe really wants to start helping you to get into your creative flow. And that flow is your power. It is what, she wants me to share this last part before we get off. It is truly what awakened my gift of seeing spirit guides and getting the downloads, is when I started a consistent practice of creating, of doing this, the oil painting, with bringing in prayer and my the spirit guides, and having an intention to bring life and blessings in these spirit guides. It's just, that's when I was a person that was non-visual, never ever saw anything in my mind's eye, and it opened it up. So I know that if you practice it, it will open up something for you. I'm not saying it'll be the same thing that happened for me, but it will open up some gifts for you. It will help your intuition. It will help you with your spiritual perspective. So, oh, thank you so much, Degree, for reposting. All right, ladies, since there's no other questions or anything, I'll be tuning out, but we will be doing another live next week. I don't know what the date is, but it's Thursday next week, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and we're on Daylight Savings Time, so it's Eastern Daylight Savings Time. All right? Blessings to all. I look forward to seeing you in the next live. Blessings.